talking a little bit about macular pathologies, which we get to see a lot more because we possibly again because of better imaging tools and modalities available to us, and sometimes the wrong interpretations which were doing because of multimodal imaging have improved. So this I'm just showing you the various macular pathologies, surgical macular pathology. This is how the Ingenuity 3D viewing system is. So this is another imaging modality which just helps you to see, and it's got pixelization, and so it's a digitized image and gives you 3D exposure, and the surgeons as well as the students would get to see exactly through their passive Polaroid glasses. They also see the surgery as the surgeon would see. I'll talk about one of the entities which we were probably missing out before because of improved imaging. Even the SDOCT can pick up all these findings. It need not be a swept source OCT, and the SDOCT or swept source OCT would pick up these myopic traction maculopathy. I get to see it day in, day out in so many patients who are myopics, and often we just asked to follow up because they haven't progressed, but some of them do progress. They develop a hole in the center. This is a compound schisis which is there. So we need to have a serial follow-up of these patients because they tend to worsen, and then when they worsen again, just like fever as pointed out, we need to take care of them much before they actually develop a detachment. So much before. So imaging really helps. So Chaitra has laid the foundation of what is important for this course. And this is a patient who developed a macular hole in the myopic patient. And what we did was the OCT picked it up very well. So the same patient, the OCT, the intraoperative OCT really helped to pick up the hole again and to localize the hole. So the posterior hyaloid with the triamcinolone, which is dusted onto the posterior hyaloid, because these pathological maps, you may have adherent vitreous. So which may, if you remove the vitreous, you actually do a vitreous schisis. So to make sure the entire vitreous remove, you must put some triamcinolone crystals. So there you can see the hole exactly centered, and you can put through the light reflex, you can see this ILM is impaled with brilliant blue G dye, and the hole, once the hole is closed, you are dead sure on the IOCT device which is there. This is integrated IOCT, and this integrated IOCT will show you that you are actually, once you close the hole, you're dead sure on the IOCT, then only do you put in gas. The 3D device also, there's less asynopia because you're looking at a distance, not exactly into the microscope eyepiece. Now, I'll come to I'll just cover a few common diseases, so like macular hole I just did, and the myopic. So epiretinal membrane is grade 0, grade 1, we should not actually do it, but so peel or not to peel is the question mark. We shouldn't peel every hole, and only if a patient develops symptoms, he's got metamorphopsia and his vision's dropped and he's feeling symptomatically worse. So you need to do serial follow-ups of such patients. Sometimes they develop a pseudo hole because the traction is so severe they develop a hole. This just saw yesterday one patient. He developed a pseudo hole in the center because there were thick ERM on the OCT, which actually tore the retina in the center and developed a pseudo hole. So he was very symptomatic. He said, "I'm missing letters and I'm seeing distorted on the grid, Amsler grid." So once you see this kind of a picture, then of course one should consider surgery. Till then, I think one should hold their hand and consider conservative management and probably just follow up the patient regularly with the OCT. So this is a patient who had a symptomatic epiretinal membrane. Once he had again we used triamcinolone also to induce PVD. Besides PVD induction, which is in the first most important step, you then scored some brilliant blue G dye. The epiretinal membrane will not stain, but of course the background ILM will stain. So once you get negative staining, the red color is actually the membrane, and this is, all these videos have been converted to MP4, so the slide, this thing, you can see that the thick ERM has been removed and some part of the ILM does come off with it. So I'm not in favor of doing too much of peeling at double dye and second time again remove ILM. Once you remove the ERM as a sheet, I don't think there's any need to go back again and do surgery. So most of my ERMs, I just do the initial proper ERM surgery as a single sheet or a double. I mean, 2-3 layers, 2-3 pieces does come off. Once it comes off completely, then I don't do the second part of it, which is the ILM peeling. Put some retin blue, put the beryllium blue. I mean, all these various dyes. No, and also ILM peeling in such cases may actually damage the macula more then he would actually have his vision. The quality of vision may be much better before surgery. So I remove the ERM and that's it. Put some gas, short acting. Ask him to sit propped up. So macular holes I've already told you. So this is just a patient who had a macular hole with SRF. The hole appeared to be slightly different on the surface OCT, as if somebody's pulled up the retina, and we found a VPT, vasoproliferative tumor, sitting at the periphery. So we actually spent some time, few months, lasering the VPT to make sure all the exudation from the VPT uh, got taken care of, and then only repeated the whole surgery. So whenever you see a macular hole, just don't straight away get excited and do the surgery, because you might have something in the periphery also, and it's important to see it. So I'm talking about my submacular deep displacement. I combined this is something because of increased incidence of probably more better imaging modalities with picking up the polypoidal choroidal vasculopathy. We're seeing those ICG, more of ICG being done, and but OCT Octa also being done. We're picking up the polyps. We're picking up branching vascular networks on the OCT, and the OCTA shows the BVN very well. OCT also shows the polyps and the thumb-like PEDs. So the OCT actually gives you a wealth of information about the PCV patients, and surprisingly, none of the studies, the Everest Planet laptop study, involved India, where there is such a high incidence of PCV all over India. So I was shocked that we actually are not part of it. So anyway, I like to use the TPA, which is available as Actilize from Boehringer Knoll, and throughout India it's available as a dose of 12.5 micrograms, 0.1 ml. I give about 0.2 ml. Avastin I give double the dose, 1.25 milligram is the standard dose. I give 2.5 milligram, which is 0.1 ml plus some air, 0.2 cc of air. This is the 41 gauge translocation needle, the same needle which was used in Europe to create macular translocation. Is used because it self seals the this thing, retinotomy. The retinotomy is self sealing, and never had, at least in my hundreds of cases, I've never had a retinal detachment. So it really does self seal. So this is actually the ICG on a patient who had a massive bleed, and these bleed patients always show up the polyp very nicely. And you can see probably polyps too here, probably a ruptured polyp. A lot of hemorrhage, and the whole retina is lifted up. Some PD over here. So multiple PDs, typical of a PD patient, typical of a PCV patient. So all this comes under the pachychoroid spectrum. One end is the central serous choroidal retinopathy, CSCR, and the other end is the PCV. So we just go in, and supratemporal part of that we put in a entire cocktail, and the air is in the end, so that may not come out. It may come out, but the air coalesces together in the end, and so you get a blister-like formation like this once the whole cocktail is inside, and that's the end of surgery. You just put in some air. I put little gas, SF6, and prop up the patient. And usually results are very exciting, and patients Whitefield Octa also show Whitefield image also shows that the blood has moved away from the center, and it's kind of trickled downwards, and the OCT also shows just the PD left, PD, and a little bit of a double layer sign, which is indicative of a branching vascular. Now these patients should be followed up because that's not the end of this patient. They 25% incidence of recurrent bleeds. So and they develop re-BVN and all that. So though I put Avastin inside, that is just for the short period. So just this week I had another patient who had been treated before with this cocktail treatment, and we had to we rechecked, and with ICG and OCT, we saw that he had developed subretinal fluid, as well as some evidence of this thing, branching vascular network. So we re-injected him. On the Octa, he had branching vascular network. Thank you very much.